Again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For all of those who are also online, they didn't hear me, I guess. Okay. We have still like a couple minutes, 5 minutes before we get started officially. So just a quick introduction, maybe kind of introduce ourselves. Rahman, Ahmad. Also kind of mention something about your journey of trip, that when you're going, what do you, yeah, maybe just maybe 15 seconds.
Yeah, inshallah, I will be leaving on 18th of June from Boston to Medina for first time for Hajj. Inshallah. And then from 22nd we'll go to Makkah and we'll come back to Boston on 3rd of July. Inshallah.
Not this year. Next year.
Inshallah. Inshallah. May Allah take you and take your family also. Ameen.
Faisal Naeem, I'm leaving on 21st of June and coming back on 7th of July.
Okay.
So this is my second time to Makkah, but going first time for Hajj.
First time.
Yeah, I'm Daniel. So we are going next Saturday, inshallah, the 17th, and then we're going to be in Medina for 1 day, and the remaining will be in Mecca, and we'll be there until the 3rd. So second time in like Mecca, Medina, but first time in Hajj.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Azra Perez. My flight should be in June 13th, inshallah, so next Tuesday. I'll be in Medina for, I believe, 4 days until the 17th. And then afterwards, we'll be in Mecca for the remaining up until, I think, July 2nd, inshallah. This is my first time going to Medina for Hajj and inshallah.
Everything all first time.
First time.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
All in one.
Yeah.
Walaikum salam.
Shahab Qazi, foreign. We're leaving on Tuesday. We are actually going from Pakistan. We're
Okay.
flying to Pakistan, and then on the 18th we have a flight to Jeddah. So we start with Makkah,
Okay.
right, and then right, and probably return back to Pakistan on July 5.
Everybody's telling them when they're going. So it's me, Nasreen. I live in Sharon. Me and my mom, Shamima, we are, inshallah, planning for Hajj starting June 22nd and returning in July 5th, inshallah.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. So we'll alternate, I think, one online and one person. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Prathalan. I'm inshallah going to Pakistan as well with my family, leaving on 19 from Pakistan to Medina, inshallah, and then we start on July 3rd. And yeah, I've been to Umrah before, but first time.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatima Qazi. I am going from Pakistan. I'm leaving from the 13th June and then from 19th June from Pakistan. And we are coming back from Hajj, July.
So Hajj first, then Medina?
No, yes, sorry, yes.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Oh my God.
Fine.
Same situation, Daniel, leaving on the 17th and then coming back July 3rd.
So that's a 20-day trip. Oh, yeah. Inshallah. Yeah. Yes. Those who are online, if you want to mention how many days, where are you going first, Makkah first, Medina first, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rizwana and I'm leaving for Hajj with my husband from Pakistan on 19th of June, first Medina and then Makkah, and we will be coming back on 3rd of July. And my husband's second Hajj it is, so he is doing for his father, like Hajj Badal. And this is my first Hajj. This is my first Hajj and my husband's second. Yeah. Thank you.
Nice, very good. So we have one season Hajj so far. Bismillah. Next. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, the name, when
So, and inshallah this year, I'm going, so I know inshallah, because I'm leading it. It's from a Saudi company. They're taking North American, I don't know anyone going from Al-Bayt. Anyone from Al-Bayt? No. So I'm part of the Al-Bayt, so I'm taking a group, inshallah. I'm a tour guide for 2023. So.
Since he has 4 names, he's not able to go ahead.
So this is your second Hajj?
This is my second Hajj, inshallah.
MashaAllah.
I just came back from Umrah during Ramadan. I was in Umrah for 10 days. Inshallah.
So that counts as one Hajj as well?
It's a-
Umrah Ramadan counts as a Hajj. Yeah. Yes. MashaAllah. So there you go. That's a fourth Hajj.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Okay, it's 10:30, so inshallah we'll get started. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. It's an honor to be with you guys who are taking this very blessed journey. Whether you are online or in person, it's a pleasure, alhamdulillah. It's a call of Allah through His beloved Khalil, Ibrahim alayhi salam. مؤذن في الناس بالحج يأتوك رجالا. SubhanAllah, how many years ago? It's been a long time. Many millennia in the past, that call was made to nobody present. It was full online. It was to the future ummah that is going to come, and nobody was there. Call the people, ya'tuka rijala, subhanallah, and that's one of the living miracles of Ibrahim alayhi salam, who as we speak, he's in Jannah, leaning back and taking care of what? He's in the care of children. So Ibrahim alayhi salam has a very interesting connection to children and future progenies. So Ibrahim alayhi salam's call that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has invited, and it's by invitation. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever work. You can have enough. You can have whatever amount of money, whatever amount of expertise. And if Allah wants you to come, He will make that possible. Otherwise, a lot of people want to go and have all the resources and would want to go, and perhaps also have everything that takes to go, but they're not able to go. And we have seen that in the COVID era. We're seeing it now in a lot of other restrictions, that a lot of people are planning to go and they want to go, and they have their names there in the list for the past 3 years. SubhanAllah. Inshallah, hopefully for those who wanted to go and intended to go, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow them. And niyatul mu'mini khayrun min amali, a believer's intention is greater than the action, meaning that the intention is very, very crucial and important for any good deed, because that leads to doing that good deed in a proper way. Otherwise, it's just actions and rituals that a person is just doing. So intention is very important. So I have this long presentation that now kind of, while we're in it and on it, it's about 116 slides. So I will try my best to just go over it, inshallah, as organic as possible. In between, if you have any questions related to what we are talking about, inshallah, you can always raise your hand. It's going to be a more interactive instead of just, a lecture or a presentation. And inshallah, I want it to be more interactive because it's a learning process and it's something that you do perhaps once for most people. Even for those who have done Hajj before, it's always a learning process. Even for people like myself who have done many Hajj, still every time I go, there's something new that I learn and something new that I need to know about, and I have to ask colleague ulama, scholars, or even look into and do some research and see what's the answer for it. So it's very unique in its own way. So Hajj is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it a fard that is done only once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime, where you get to go and be with everyone, to go and just be on that journey, which it's a simulation trip to God, right? Just like the pilots that have the simulation, practice that they do, and they're actually not flying, right? They're in this little room and they're practicing. So Hajj is about you going to Allah. Normally I use the term for this trip, the journey of love. The journey of love. Right? It's not going to Paris or the Bahamas. It's the journey of love to Allah. Right? That you leave everything behind. Just like Ibrahim alayhi salam, he left everything behind, leaving that same place where we are leaving everything behind to go to. He left everything. He left his wife and his child, right? In the place, Wadin Ghairi Dhi Zar, no cultivation, no civilization, no nothing, and had to go because that was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's order. We would leave everything behind to go to the place to honor, impartial, Ibrahim alayhi salam's sacrifice. And Hajj is mostly about the sacrifice of this family, not just an individual. Ibrahim alayhi salam's family. So him and his wife and his child. This family is a very symbolic thing. Most of the Hajj things that the rituals that we do in Hajj, it revolves around that. Going around the Kaaba. Going to Maqam Ibrahim, right? Allah says, "Fi ayatun bayyinat." There are many signs in the vicinity of the Haram. Bayyinat, they are very open and clear that you see it. Maqam Ibrahim, Allah mentions from them very specifically the place where Ibrahim alayhi salam stood and built the Kaaba, right? The Safa and Marwa, again, that's Hajar, the wife of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and the mother of Ibrahim and Ishaq. And then Zamzam that we drink after the tawaf, or between the tawaf, or before the tawaf, or after, between the sa'i, Safa and Marwa, and so on and so forth. Or we drink it over there, staying there, or we drink it here at home when we bring it and give it to people and share with others. So it's that legacy of that family that was Ismail alayhi salam, where he was hungry and thirsty, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought that water forth, the water from Jannah, the river that comes from Jannah. And then the stone, Hajar Aswad, that we kiss the stone and we hug the Kaaba, and I will talk about that inshallah. That's all signs of love to God, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have any physical body. He is not in a physical space, direction. He's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's free from all of that. He's not like anything like his creation. But we as human beings relate to physically, have something tangible, right, that we attach to. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed these places, the Kaaba, right? The black stone is like going and greeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like we shake hands, right? We see someone after a long time, we want to go and hug that person. So both is there. the Hajar Aswad and the Kaaba itself. So Allah placed these tangible things to get ourselves connected to God. So that's the spirit of this journey, is that you are on a journey of love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah is your creator. He is the one that is supposed to be the closest to you, the most beloved to you, the most important thing, the top on the priority list, right? And all of those things. So that's the whole journey. That's the spirit of the journey. It is a fard, yes. And we are fulfilling the obligation, yes. That's, you know, that's the bare minimum. That's like the skeleton of the Mercedes that you bought. But the skeleton is not good enough. You need all the luxurious items of the car to make it properly functional. So all of those things are important in Hajj, inshallah. So some of the things before you go to repent from all the sins, all the disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we have committed in our lives, make a sincere tawbah, that, oh Allah, forgive me and forgive my sins and forgive the mistakes that I've done. And oh Allah, I repent from the greater sins and I will never return back to it, and fulfill resolve all of that, and resolve the outstanding differences and seek forgiveness from others. That's very, very important, because you're going on this journey of journey of love. So you have rights of other people, right? You have connection to people, and perhaps maybe that connection was a little rough, and at some place it would perhaps be severed, and so on and so forth. So we have to make sure that we clear those accounts. Right? You're not a bankruptcy, status.
On the same subject, the question: if you have violated someone's right and that person is not aware of that,
yes, that's a very good
in
question.
order to seek that forgiveness, do you need to disclose that?
No, you
violation?
don't. That's a very Western political thing, that you have to go and say the whole thing to the person, that this is what I did to you, and the person doesn't know. Oh, that's what you did to me? Oh, okay. You don't have to do that. And there's a whole discussion in our tradition that if someone doesn't know of the things that you have done or said behind his back, you don't have to go and say all those things to start a whole new chapter. You just kind of say that, perhaps if I, kind of say it in a way that, if I've done anything wrong to you, and perhaps maybe I've done something wrong to you, please forgive me. Keep that person's heart clear, right? That will be between you and Allah, inshallah, of the details. But overall, you need to ask forgiveness from that person. So you can make a general statement. If that person is not around, you can get hold of that person, then you make istighfar on behalf of that person. You give some sadaqah on behalf of that person. You can do another sadaqah, which is ibadah. You pray for that person. Perhaps maybe in Mecca, when you're there, you make one tawaf for that person. So you can do any good deed on behalf of that person, and ask Allah to send a reward to that person. So inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving. So لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not make us and force us to do something that we are not capable of doing. So that's in our capacity, and we want to also do it in the best way. So the best way to ask forgiveness is just to, in general, ask forgiveness, and you don't have to go to the details. Now that's for actions. If it's a monetary thing, then you have to pay that person back, right? If you owe someone money, you have to pay that money. So monetary obligations must be fulfilled. And that's the third one. Wealth of Hajj and Umrah is from halal money, of course, mashallah. And memorize some du'as. So that's very, very important to memorize. There's a book, it's called Accepted Whispers, and it's available on so many platforms. You can always buy it. There's also a very good PDF, and there's also an app you can get that is specifically just for that. So Accepted Whispers, it has all the general du'as to do from morning until night at any given occasion. Going to the masjid, going to the bathroom, going to sleep, waking up, sleep, and so on and so forth. So these du'as are very, very powerful, and it will keep you busy. Yes.
The thought about morning and evening dua. It has just the dua for 7 days of
Du'as, yeah, and du'as in general. So there are many, many books. So du'as, like, for example, of difficulty and so on. So those du'as are very, important to just get yourself used to making dua. And what are the things that you can ask Allah? Because a lot of times, oh Allah, forgive me, have mercy upon me, the general du'as. But what is more than that? So those du'as, they give you that sense. Yes, so for morning and evening du'as, there are so many you can find. They're abundant all over. A lot of people have printed them and put them online. You can find them easily. The morning, evening du'as. What's that? That's also good. It has a lot of du'as in there, so you could use that. So any form that you are you have already been practicing. If you have any book, you have any particular routine that you do, make sure that you have that with you. Inshallah, you could take books with you if you want to. Nowadays, everything is digital, so a digital copy will also do it. So du'as are very important, especially the du'as that you're going to do over there in Arafat, where you have many, many hours only just for that particular purpose, just to make du'a. So you could use the accepted whispers or the Hisn al-Muslim, the fortress of the Muslim, and so on and so forth. That has a lot of general du'as. You can ask everything, and you'll have enough time. And also you have more time after finishing all those du'as to make other du'as of your own. So memorizing du'as are very, especially du'as that are commonly used, like for example, entering the masjid, going to sleep, waking up in the morning. Those du'as that it's not just specific to Hajj or to Arafat and those places. So you'll have a lot of du'as to, inshallah, practice. So the guide to Umrah. So the reason why I was asking what's your schedule, so some of you are going to Medina first, some going to Umrah first. So I think let's prioritize, we're going to go over Umrah and Hajj and then Medina. So for those who are going to Medina, make sure you keep that in mind that, whether you're going to Medina and then going for your Hajj will be the same as those who are going straight to Hajj. So from Medina, you'll be going to Hajj, you'll do Umrah first, for the most part. 99% that you will be doing Umrah first, and then you'll be doing Hajj. So for those who are going straight to Umrah and Hajj, inshallah, that's what we are going to discuss, and that will be the order. So inshallah, we'll talk about the Umrah first, without going through all the slides, because it may take a lot of time. So when in Umrah, there are 4 things. There are 4 things that you must do in Umrah to make your Umrah count. 4 things. If you have done those 4, your Umrah is accepted, and inshallah it will count for as an Umrah. And anything other than those 4 things, they are either highly recommended, good to do, and so on and so forth. And then there are a few things that you should avoid, and that would be connected to the first thing that I will mention, inshallah. Okay, so 4 things necessary for Umrah. Other than that, it will be very good to do, and perhaps maybe okay to do. And then there are other things that are not to the don'ts, right? The things that you should avoid and not do, and that is mostly connected to the first one. So what is the first one? Is intention and saying labbaik Allahumma labbaik and getting into ihram. That whole package. That's the first one. So they're all connected to one another, so that's why we count it as one. So the first one is for men to put the ihram on, take a shower and all of that, do all of that prior to putting on the ihram, and then praying 2 rakats, of course, and then after that you are going to make the intention, oh Allah, I intend for Umrah, oh Allah, make it easy for me and accept from me. and then saying the talbiyah. All of that is one. But what is the core of that whole one point? Number one is to be in the physical state of ihram, meaning that you're not wearing regular clothing for men. This is only for men. For women, any regular clothing. So you have to be in the proper clothing. Number two is that you make the intention that, oh Allah, I'm intending for. You don't have to say it verbally, just your intention on your, what is on your mind, and your action itself is actually your intention that you have prayed 2 rak'at and so on and so forth. So that's the second thing. And the third would be saying labbaik Allahumma labbaik at least one time. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, or saying labbaik umratan. You good to go. So those three components make up the first part of the umrah. That's the fard. Without that, your umrah will not be accepted. It would just not count. If someone just was traveling and ended up in Makkah, and okay, now I see the Kaaba, I'm just gonna go and start my umrah. The tawaf will count. Tawaf will count if he's on a state of wudu. So that we'll talk about that. But it will not count for umrah. Umrah has to have those things prior to starting the umrah. So again, for men, making sure that you are in the state of the physical state of ihram, that you have, and the second is to say, make the intention, either say it verbally or just have it in your mind. And the third thing is to say, labbaik Allahumma labbaik. And labbaik Allahumma labbaik is one of the du'as that you're doing throughout Hajj and throughout Umrah. Labbaik, so make sure that you are familiar with the word, and you can easily say the whole thing. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika lak, labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. So practice it. If you don't know it, practice it before going. Practice before you're going. So that's the first. The second important part of Umrah is tawaf. Tawaf. Going around the Kaaba 7 times or completing most of the tawaf. Okay, I'll say one more time. The second important element of Umrah is going around the Kaaba, doing the tawaf, the whole entire 7 times, or at least doing most of the 7. Most of the 7 would be 4. That's fard. Meaning, if you have not done 4 times around the Kaaba, your Umrah is not counted. But to complete that will be wajib. That's later on, inshallah. We'll talk about that within the tawaf. So those are the 2. These 2 are the fara'id of Hajj. Sorry, Umrah. Fara'id of Umrah. Fara'id meaning the obligatory act that if you miss out on one of them, your Umrah would not count. It will count as regular tawaf or regular ibadah, inshallah. You got the ajr, but the Umrah does not count. The third is going between Safa and Marwa 7 times, or doing the most 7 times. That is wajib. So if you miss out, your Umrah will still count, but there is a penalty for that. However, just to make it easy, the third important element of Umrah is going between Safa and Marwa 7 times. Where do you start? Safa and then Marwa. 7, right? The fourth, it would be trimming or shaving the hair, shaving the head, or trimming the hair. For women, at least, a certain amount, about 1 inch, more or less. And for the men, any amount, at least 1 inch or more. Shaving will also be. So that will be the fourth element of Umrah. So if you have completed these 4, your Umrah is accepted. Okay? So that's the overall summary of Umrah. Okay? Now in detail, for those who are going from wherever you're starting your journey, whether it's from here, from Pakistan, or from another country, if you are going into Jeddah, and that would be 99% that will be the case going into Jeddah. Now, when you go into Jeddah, there's places that are called the miqat. Miqat, it means that if you are going to Mecca, and you're intending Umrah or Hajj, then you cannot pass that particular point without in the state of Ihram. Without the state of Ihram, you cannot pass that particular point. Now, Jeddah is beyond that miqat. So if you are traveling, let's say from New York, from Boston, from Karachi, you will pass the miqat, whichever area you're coming from. So it means that the flight that you are taking to Jeddah, right? You're flying from
Boston,
for example, Boston to
Riyadh,
Riyadh. So your flight from Riyadh to Jeddah, we're talking about that the last leg of your flight, the last leg of your journey, that last flight that you're taking. From there, you will start the procedure of Umrah in most cases, unless if your transit in Riyadh or in Karachi or in, let's say, Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Turkey is literally 1 hour and a half, and there's no way that you're going to be doing all of your readiness for Umrah. But in most cases, you have a couple hours between those two flights, and then you have enough time. So that's where you would do, if you are traveling from, let's say, from JFK straight to Jeddah, then you would do it from JFK, right? So before your last flight, you will do a few things. Number one is that you make sure that you find a place where you can change, right? For men. For women, from your home or wherever you starting your journey, you just get ready and wear whatever you're comfortable with during the journey. It's not necessary for women to wear the exact same clothing that they're going to be using during their Umrah. You can always change, even for men. If you had your ihram on, for some reason you want to change your ihram, that's totally fine. But you want to get just to get started, you want to have everything ready to go all the way into your Umrah. So for men, you're going to be wearing the ihram.
If you're traveling on the airplane and you're trying to get into the state of Ihram,
You can't do that. You can. I'm just saying it from a mere practical perspective. Yes, you can.
sorry,
You can.
is it wajib that you must do the ghusl before? the
No,
ihram?
no.
Okay.
Also, all of those things are recommended in Sunnah. If you're not able to, totally fine. For the ihram, there's nothing wajib or necessary. The things that are recommended is that you get ready, take a shower, just like you would take a shower for Jum'ah. You will clip your nails, trim whatever hair that needs to be removed, you do that. Pubic hair, you remove that. So anything that you would do to prepare yourself for Jum'ah Salah, that's how you're going to prepare yourself for the ihram. It's kind of, giving the respect of ihram, that you are now going to be in a state of muhrim. You're going to be going to the Kaaba. You're going on this journey of love, and I want to honor this state. So honoring that state is that you get ready, and then put perfume on if you want to, if you can, if you have. That's also recommended to put perfume on, and it's okay if you have that perfume on all the way until you get to your Umrah. That's okay. Initially, you can put whatever you want on, but during the ihram, that would be the things that you should be avoiding. It's not permissible to use perfume, and perfume or anything that is scented is the most difficult part. Why? Because the penalty for perfume or anything scented is right away. If you put perfume on, khalas, you have to give a dam. Dam meaning that you have to sacrifice an animal in the haram, or you pay the money to have that sacrifice. We'll come to some of those things, inshallah, later on. I don't want to get distracted. So scent and perfume, that's something that you have to be really careful, because soap, lotions, shampoo, all of those things, just regular hand wash, gel is also scented. So normally in places of like Arafat and Mina and Muzdalifah, they have unscented those things to wash your hands and stuff like that.
Can you just clear the concept of what scent means here?
Anything that urfan, that normally people would consider that perfume and a good fragrance smell, that will be scented. Something that, like,
Because something which is
because if
even,
you're eating an orange, it smells good, but it's not perfume. You don't call that perfume, or not, we don't call that a scent, right? Something like rose, jasmine, oud, and those different names out there.
so Vaseline petroleum jelly has its own smell, but
That's
it's not
fine.
fragrance.
But they have the scented one as well. So you have to be careful. The non-fragrant, yes.
Anything you should say that would be on. It says it in the thing.
Yes.
Even though it has its just natural
The
smell.
natural smell
components.
is fine.
Okay.
Chapstick, for example, most of them have. So you get that, you can even get sunscreen also unscented. Yes.
If we want perfume, like you said, and of course, it's okay to do it before.
Yeah.
Around when they're preparing. So can it be put on the around itself, the cloth?
Yes.
Or just on the body?
And the haram, yourself, the body, anywhere. Both is fine. No.
Does that include like bakur as well? Actually, that's just flying around. Sometimes they that.
So those, I didn't, because this becomes a little complicated.
Yeah.
Scent that is burnt, like bakhur, that you burn it. If you're in a state of ihram, you shouldn't purposely go and smell it
Makes sense.
or stand next to it and get a look. Yeah, right? You should avoid, but if you are passing by and it's burning, that's fine. That's unavoidable, right? You're passing by the Makkah Tower and all these bakhur burning all around you. It's fine because you cannot avoid that. But to purposely go and smell, that would be disliked. And if you actually go and put it on yourself, then you dump, you slaughter. So that's something that you have to be careful and avoid. But you shouldn't overdo it also. Oh, I don't know, I touched this, maybe I touched it. If you are 100% certain that you can smell it, okay, I got it on my hand, okay, that's a different story. But I don't know, if you don't know, it means you didn't. Because always, if you take it, if you always think about it and I maybe touch something, maybe try to avoid. And if anything happens and you are certain about it, that you touched, you have something perfume on your hand or on your clothes, then you give that them and we'll talk about that inshallah.
Bring your own toiletries, like often hotels don't, they have the soaps and stuff they have,
Yes.
they can. Bring your-
So yeah, that's a good point. All the hotels, 99%, I would say, they do not provide Hajj friendly soap and shampoo and all that stuff. So and because when you're in Mecca or Medina, you're not in a state of ihram most of the time. You're only in a state of ihram when you get there. So when you get there, you want to take a quick shower. You are in the state of ihram. You want to take a quick shower because you're tired and sweaty and everything. Instead of making wudu, you want to take a quick shower. That's fine. Don't use any soap. Don't use any shampoo. During the state of ihram, you do not use soap, shampoo, anything, even if it's unscented. That's recommended because it is recommended to stay in a state of humbleness. Even getting dirty, that's also part of the journey. Your ihram gets dirty, your body, it's sweaty and everything. That's part of the journey. That's part of the experience. So that's actually a good thing. So you should not even, it is mentioned that if your hand or your body gets dirty, you just try to remove a little bit off. You shouldn't wash it off, like clean it. We're not going to a party, right? It's like, going for a hike, going for a field trip. Yes.
Going back to the set, I had a friend who went to Hajj and she said her camp was next to a bathroom and someone had bad BO. So she took like a lavender, like some oil, and put on her mask. Is that okay? Like to not get nauseous or to smell around?
If there's a need, then that's a different case. If someone is going to faint or get sick because of the smell, then that's maybe an excuse, valid excuse. But in general, just because it's smelling bad, you cannot do that. And if it's just on the mask and she's only smelling it, that we dislike. But if it touches her body, then that's a problem. Then she'll have to give them. طيب, so back to getting ready for getting in the state of ihram. So you took your shower, everything, you put on your 2 pieces of cloth, and we'll do a demonstration for that for the men. And you will pray 2 rak'ah if the place and, you know, if it's feasible, you could do that in the plane, because when the plane takes off, you still have an hour, 2, 3, whatever, before you get to the miqat, before you actually have to get in the state of ihram. You could always do it before even getting on the plane, but it's best to do it after takeoff. The rest of the things you do it after takeoff. You pray 2 rak'ah, you find a masjid, you find a musalla at the airport, pray that 2 rak'ah. And mashallah, we did it last time. You were with us last time, mashallah. You know, we were in where we were in Istanbul. Yeah, in Istanbul, we did our 2 rakat and everything, haram, everything, and then we got on a plane. And after we took off, before an hour into the flight, then we did our talbiyah and niyat and everything. So the reason is that sometimes flights get delayed, get canceled. Now you're stuck over there. Inshallah, it won't happen. Nowadays, it doesn't happen that often, but it could happen. It could happen that you are now stuck there for a couple hours and you're in your state of ihram. So you have to be always, you know, so just to kind of ease yourself and, you know, make it easy on you, it's best to delay the intention, the fard part, the first part that we're going to do, to leave that until the plane takes off. Because once the plane takes off, then mashallah, you're in the air, you're going to be reaching your destination in Jeddah. So you do all of that, 2 rak'ahs. After 2 rak'ahs, you make dua. That's recommended. And in the 2 rak'ahs, of any 2 rak'ahs during the entire trip, there are certain things that you will be doing the same exact thing throughout the trip. The 2 rak'ahs, anytime 2 rak'ahs that you're going to pray, it is recommended to recite Qul ya al-kafirun, Qul Allahu ahad. Now, that's not a mandatory. You don't have to. It's just recommended. Like the 2 rak'ahs for the Sunnah of Fajr. The Prophet ﷺ used to make it very short. So even for the ihram, the 2 rak'ahs that you're going to pray, make it short. And after that, you make a dua and ask the same things that we mentioned before. Make istighfar, ask Allah for forgiveness, make dua for your family, and so on and so forth. And ask Allah for easing your trip, inshallah, upcoming trip. So once you get everything done, said and done, and you're up, now you will make the intention that, oh Allah, I intend for Umrah. Oh Allah, make it easy for me and accept from me. I'm assuming none of you are doing Qiran, Hajj Qiran. Does anybody know what Hajj Qiran is? Khalas, then it means you're not doing it.
We did it on that.
MashaAllah. I also once did Hajj Qiran. It was amazing. Oof, it's tough. Hajj Qiran means that you do Umrah and Hajj in one intention. Khalas, you start, make the intention, and you all the way until you finish Hajj. So it's very difficult. So that's why most people, 99% of people, they do Hajj Tamattu'. Hajj Tamattu', it means that you do Umrah first and then Hajj. Or the third one is Ifrad, that you only intend for Hajj. It's very similar to Qiran, is just that you're not doing Umrah. That you intend for the Ihram of Hajj on the plane, and you exit from Ihram all the way after Hajj. However, Tamattu' is what normally people do, and I'm assuming all of you are going to do Tamattu', inshallah. So you are intending, oh Allah, I'm intending for Umrah, make it easy for me and accept me. 2 things. The easiest dua and the most comprehensive dua that I have come across during the Hajj and Umrah trips is this dua. Anything that you do in the whole trip, oh Allah, I intend to go to Mina. Oh Allah, make it easy for me and accept from me. Because if it's easy, then mashallah, physically you're good to go all the way till the end. And if it's also accepted while being easy, it's the best of the 2 worlds, right? The Prophet ﷺ always chose the easiest way. One difficult, one easy, both are, the outcome is the same. So take the easy path. You don't have to always take the hard way. So Allah, make it easy for me and accept from me. So that's the intention. How you're going to verbally say it, right? The intention. Now, this is also not necessary. If you forget, you didn't say it, it's totally fine. And then you're going to say that talbiyah. That intention is not sufficient. It has to be coupled with labbaik Allahumma umratan, or you say the whole thing, oh Allah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik labbaik la sharika, all the way till the end. Labbaik umratan is the shortest form to enter into the ihram. Later on, when we talk about Hajj, getting into Hajj, you say labbaik hajjatan. Labbaik hajjatan. So you have to say labbaik. Oh Allah, I'm there for you. I'm present. I have started my journey to you. That's what labbaik means, that you're answering the call of what we started with Ibrahim alayhi salam, that he called us for Hajj and I'm there, labbaik. I'm ready to go. So once you have said that, now ihram starts. Now all the prohibition starts. Now we talked about the things that we did in our getting ready for ihram, taking a shower, clipping nails, hair, etc. Those two things also become impermissible. It's not permissible to pluck hair or clip nails and put on perfume. These are the three major prohibitions that apply to every Haji and every person who is in a state of ihram. There are other things, but normally it's not applicable, like hunting. Who's going to go for hunting? Which Haji goes for hunting? I've yet to experience that. But that's also a prohibition. So that's from the prohibition perspective. Again, perfume is something that you have to avoid. Hair, the hair is also sometimes it becomes a little not problematic, but it becomes a little place of tension that, oh, I was just wiping my head and I see 3-4 hair, right? I made my wudu, few hair came on my hand, or and so on and so forth. For women in particular, wiping the head. For us, our beard, that is also another inclusion. So that's something that if 1 or 2 hair, fine. But if you went really hard, like you were itching your head and you wanted to, you're massaging your head and now you see like a bunch of them, that's problematic. Okay. If that happens, if you have an imam with you, ask them at that point what is required to do, because the penalty sometimes is just qabda, meaning it's like $2, $3, $5 I usually recommend. And then there is, if it's a little bigger penalty, then it goes to sadaqat al-fitr, which is minimum now, it's $15 or $10. So $15, so this amount of sadaqat al-fitr. And then the higher penalty, and which is not the highest, but one of the higher ones, is dam, meaning that you sacrifice an animal or you pay someone to sacrifice the animal in the haram boundary, And you have organizations there, even Makkah Tower, many places, you have these places where they accept the amount that they do the dam on your behalf. So you could do that. So if it's just 1 or 2 hairs, then sadaqah, $5, a couple dollars. If it's a few other hairs, then sadaqah al-fitr, $15. If it was a lot of hair, then dam would be required.
I have a question.
Now,
Can you shave your head before you go into the?
yes, everything is permissible. Anything that is usually halal, it's halal before entering the state of ihram. But once you enter the state of ihram, then those major 3 prohibitions, hair, nails, and perfume, would be impermissible. So that's why it's called ihram. Ihram is from haram, right? That things that were halal, now it's haram. There's 1/4 thing that is particular to men, which is that right there, that white cloth. For men, it is not permissible. It will be haram because you're in ihram. It will be haram to wear clothing that is usually a custom to wear as clothing, right? So you wrap around something. You have a shawl you wrap around because you're cold. It's not clothing. It's not like proper clothing. Anything that is shaped as clothing, right? If you want to wrap around the hand, wrap around the bottom, extra, that's fine. It's not general clothing. So that's something that is sewn as proper clothing, right? That will be pants, shirt, any type of shirt, underwears, and so on and so forth, hat, because this is libas, it's part of regular clothing, hat. So that would not be permissible. There's another layer of the hat part. It's also because it is not permissible for men to cover the head and the face. And the face would also be applying to the men, to the women as well. So face is included for both genders, and the head is only for men. You cannot wear a hat while you're in ihram. Why? Number one, because you're covering the head, and number two, because it's also part of clothing, libas.
You cannot wear the mask in the ihram.
Mask if it's necessary or required. If it's necessary because of your health condition, or is required. Before it used to be required, now it's not. So with one of those two conditions, then it will be permissible. It's fine. According to even the Hanafiya, a lot of them say that you don't have to also pay any penalty because it's a darura. And some scholars say that even if it's darura, even if it was a necessity that you had to cover your face, you will give the penalty. And that's also a valid opinion. So where are we at? We're still at the ihram part, and it's already 11:15. Bismillah. Let's get through this quickly. MashaAllah. Can I ask one of our brothers to come up here and show us how to put on the ihram? It's very simple and easy. Because this is going to be worn in Umrah and the whole entire Hajj trip, so there is no one correct way, and there's no one best way. Just keep that in mind. There's no one way and no one best way, because for each person it's individually. You want to come in front of the camera?
No, I'm just.
Because there are some brothers on the online as well. So
Why not turn it to the right?
I'll turn it.
I'll be there.
Bismillah. So how to wear an ihram? So there are two pieces of ihram. So he's showing the bottom part.
This is the most important part, okay? So
The top
brother,
is
we don't have to remind something. We don't have six packs, so we have one pack.
You should face the camera so that you
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah, you can.
So I don't know what to do.
Yes, you're good. Yeah, you're good.
So I know we need to walk a lot, so we make sure you have enough space before you tie it down, right? Sheikh, am I right?
I just said there's not one right way.
Yeah.
There's many ways.
Let's get the mic. So
Yeah, it is good.
that's Sheikh, I don't know.
Nice.
Is it
That's
good?
nice. MashaAllah. That's actually nice.
So now I have enough space, right? And I know we use belt a lot, right? A lot of people use this belt. You can use the belt for, I don't know, it's permitted to use the belt only for holding this purposes?
It is permissible.
Okay.
It is because it's not clothing. You don't always wear that belt. It's not part of clothing, regular clothing.
Okay, yeah, so it's just wear the belt. If you want to keep your cell phone, with our cell phone, you're not survive there, so use the cell phone. And do you want me to show the top part?
The top part is
Easy, but just I was talking about the one pack. Sheikh has six packs, so he doesn't. So you need to cover your one pack. So what I do, I just keep this part underneath that, right? So it's not gonna show my six pack, and then I just leave it like this. So anytime you are doing something that is covered.
No.
This is.
This
is gonna go there, inshallah.
So that's one very good way. Actually, I've never done it that way. I have a little different method that works best for me. But mashallah, whatever works best for you, you can try 2-3 different methods for those who are going for the first time, and see, do it before going at home. Try it out and see how you feel walking, and because there's going to be a lot of walking. Keep that in mind. A lot of walking, especially in Hajj, a lot of walking. So you have to feel comfortable. And it's not comfortable, just it's not comfortable. But at least you're not getting that heavy rash, and then you're suffering actually. So you have to be thinking about that as well. That is not rubbing against a particular aspect, a particular part of your thighs and stuff like that. So whatever you feel comfortable, and you can walk and sometimes even run, because you're going to be running at some point. So keep that in mind. The belt part is definitely, I would highly recommend, make sure that you have, and it will come very handy. You use it to tighten the ihram, and also to put your belongings, because in ihram there's no pockets. And by the way, if you want to put a pocket on your ihram, it is permissible. It is permissible. It's okay. A lot of people think that nothing can be sewn on the ihram, which is not true. You can have something sewn around the ihram, that's fine. Stitches are fine. Because it's not a clothing in itself. It's just a pocket or whatever. So you can add a pocket if you want to. And also, it doesn't have to be white. I know 99.99 they wear white. If someone wants to go a little different and wear red or a rainbow, it's fine. Rainbow color is also beautiful. Yes. So it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It is. But I'm just making a point that it does not have to be white. It's not a requirement. It just became a norm that people always wear white because it's easier and whatever. It's cool, and so and the Prophet ﷺ used to like white, and so, for many reasons. Fine. But I had a teacher, he was wearing a regular lungi, and he had this the regular rumal. That's what he used on the top. And asked him that why, he said that in Hajj is supposed to be modest, the most humble way, and these nice white, flashy. Sometimes they look really nice, white. It's more humble when you wear like even old shawl. So if anybody wants to use a regular shawl, if you don't have your top white one, that's fine. So ihram. So once you're in the state of ihram, you've done that. Now you will be heading to Makkah. You'll be getting ready. Yes.
Not allowed to use cream or Vaseline.
Anything that has no scent in it, you're allowed to use it. So cream, lotions, all of those things, make sure that it is unscented. Shoes. So shoes, it should be in a shoes that is not covering. Dr. Saab, what is this?
Ankle?
What is this bone called? What is this bone, the top bone? Does everybody know that name? There's a bone that is you feel it when you when you put your finger over between your middle toe all the way up to your ankle. There's this bone that is a little up. It's kind of very obvious when you feel it. So that part, it should be uncovered in the Hanafi school. And also the ankles definitely have to be uncovered. It has to be open. So anything that covers them, that will not be allowed. So, those slippers that have, just the front, those kind of shoes are fine. Crocs, it's okay. I don't have any problem with that as long as most of the front of your foot is showing. And this is for men, by the way. Women can wear socks, any type of shoes that you're comfortable with, fine. That's only for men.
They still say we discriminate.
Now we're giving the women, mashallah, make it comfortable, making it easy.
Yeah.
No socks considered. No socks for the men. No socks.
Can you use a clean sandal or shoe in the Hajj?
Mhm. As long as it's tahir, that is pure, it's not najis, you can use it during ihram. sorry, during tawaf,
For the sorry.
for the sa'i. Because for the sa'i, you're going through the masjid and then the mataf. And tawaf is like salah, so, the clean shoes is. But if it's regular shoes, just new shoes, you want to wear them, fine. And now these prohibitions, like covering the head, covering the face, covering the feet, wearing something that is not permissible or prohibited during the haram, normally it's for a long period of time. If it's just for a short, like for a minute, you put it on, or you covered your face or covered your head for a minute or two, or for a few minutes, or even for as long as an hour, it's still okay. If you have done those things for a long period of time, let's say for half of the day, then that's problematic. Then there's a dam and so on and so forth. So once you already got to the, yes, I'm trying to get to the haram, man. I'm trying to get to the Kaaba. Yes.
I heard two things. You did mention sandal and you did mention the bone. So because if you're wearing a sandal, then there's a strap going over the bone. Top bone. That's why.
Because sometimes there's one strap here and the other one all the way up here.
Right.
That is not covering this bone and not covering that bone. So you be your judge. If it's covering, then you should avoid. If it's not, then by all means.
Do you want me to bring this in?
Let's do it after. So we got to Makkah. We are ready to go to do our tawaf for Umrah, because we already did the first step. We're going to do the second step of tawaf. So when you, like I mentioned before, you can make sure that you're on a state of wudu. You are on the state of wudu. Because for tawaf, any tawaf, whether it's the Umrah tawaf or the Hajj tawaf that we're going to talk about, you have to be in a state of wudu. You have to be in a state of wudu. Without that, it will not be accepted. Hence, you will also have to pay a penalty if you make a mistake. Let's finish our Judah. Yeah, because every shoe is different, and every, scenario is different. So not get into too much detail. Oh, the Imam said that was haram, that you cannot use it. That was for that particular shoe, maybe not all of the shoe. Anyway, so you have to be in a state of wudu. So make sure that you have your wudu. If you lost your wudu before starting or going to the haram, then you make a new wudu. You can also take a shower, like I mentioned. Now you're gonna go for tawaf. So tawaf, it requires wudu, and you will do 7 times. And you have to make the intention before that. So there are a few steps. I'll go through all of them one by one. So once you get to the Kaaba, number 1, not required, but it is good to, when you see the Kaaba for the first time, make a dua, and the dua is always accepted. Anytime you enter the haram, you see the Kaaba for the first time, make dua. But this is your first time seeing the Kaaba in this journey. And for some, it might be first time in life. So take some time, make sure you find a place where you're not in the way of other people. You're not because someone's going to come and push you, or people with authority will come say, Yalla Hajj.
So
move to side.
So does the dua have to be immediately when you see the Kaaba, or can you see it and then go to a place where you can make dua?
Yeah, when you see it the first time, start making dua. If you're still walking, fine. But try to find a place where you can actually see the Kaaba and stop over there, make the dua. Wherever you feel comfortable.
Okay.
The group, if you're going in a group, then inshallah, hopefully that your leader will find a place where you can stop and make dua and see the Kaaba. So that's the first thing that you do, entering the haram, seeing the Kaaba for the first time. Now, when you approach for the tawaf, a few things. So number 1, you're gonna make the intention, and in the intention, same thing. Oh Allah, I intend for the tawaf of my umrah. Oh Allah, accept and make it easy. Accept and make it easy. So that's number 1. Number 2, you are going to, can you hand me one piece? Do the iltiba. Okay, so that would be Niaz, you're the practical guy. Come over. Yeah, because I don't have my brace on.
What did you do?
Show us how to put under. So this is the second step that you would do, because we're gonna be doing the Ramal and we'll show you what that Ramal looks like. So simply,
So this is gonna be
Your
regular,
regular.
right? So before,
and what is the, this is how you're going to do, iltiba, meaning that you bring the right part side of the ihram under your armpit and put it over the shoulder. So that's how you're going to, and this is, yeah, right shoulder exposed, so under the right shoulder. And so why that is going to be done, because in the first three, you'll be not running, but walking a little more aggressively. It's not about speed, it's not about running, it's about the way how you walk more aggressively. So show us how.
it's kind of,
Yeah.
but don't push anyone. This is very,
Yeah.
and I shareholders do.
If it's very crowded, then you may not be able to do it, that's fine. Sometimes, also I'm not able to, I don't. Fine, you just walk normally. And whatever, when there's an open space, then you will. It's not about walking fast, it's about the way how you walk. So you'll be moving your arm like actively, right? It's like this. So that's why you keep that one part open. And that will be open all the way until the end of the tawaf. After 7, then you could change it and back to normal. So the second thing for the men, so intention, yes.
I have a question on the Ramal.
Uh-huh.
If you're with your companion and you're like in the waf,
Uh-huh.
if there's a lot of people, then is it gonna be mandatory? Well, it's two-part question. If it's Ramal and there's a lot of people, is it okay if the companion is walking alongside with you, or if you lose something?
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And if there's not a lot of people, then should you assume that you can leave the companion alone and then catch up?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's fine.
okay,
That's
okay.
fine. Whatever works for you and your companion, you're comfortable with, she's comfortable, and she can catch up later on, fine. You can hold hands, she can hold your ihram while you're doing your Ramadan,
Yeah.
whatever works. A lot of people, that's what they do.
Okay.
Hold this or hold the hand while they're walking, so that's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
And the Shafi'i school is a little problematic, so, because that will break the wudu, wife and husband.
Yeah.
So they have to be careful. So for Hanafis, all good. But if you start bleeding during the tawaf, the Shafis are okay with that. It won't break the wudu. But for Hanafis, it's gonna break the wudu.
For that moment.
So you cannot be a hopper, madhab hopper. Anyway, so ittiba, so that's the second thing. The third thing, you will say the takbir. Just like for salah. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. If you're starting salah, meaning that that's where you're entering into your tawaf, right? And then the fourth thing you do is istilam, as if you're kissing the Hajar Aswad, facing towards the Hajar Aswad, and then you start. There's no line, there's no exact, location by millimeter. It's just the approximate location. There's a green light on your right, there's a Hajar Aswad on your left, where you kind of feel that you're in the middle of both. That's where you start your tawaf, and that's where you end each circle. That's where you end your tawaf. Simple. So 4 things. Number 1 is that you do your ihram thing, and number 2, you make your intention, and number 3 is that you say Allahu Akbar wa lillahi alhamd, and number 4 is that you do istilam. Now istilam is as if you're kissing the Hajar Aswad. You are going to do 9 of them. 9 of them. There are 7 times around the Kaaba, all recommended. It's not necessary. They're not followed, right? For the tawaf. So you do 8 during the tawaf. In the 9th one, it will be for your sa'i. So in the beginning of the tawaf, and then after every time you pass by the Hajar Aswad, you're going to do 1. So that's 7. You did 1 in the first, 8. And then the last one, for your sa'i. So going around the Kaaba, we said 4 times. It is the fard, which will complete your rukun, the most important part of your tawaf, your umrah. However, to complete the whole thing is wajib. You have to. So that's one wajib of the tawaf, not the umrah. The second wajib of the tawaf is that once you complete the 7 times around the Kaaba, you pray 2 rak'ahs, and you can pray anywhere in the haram. It's best to pray next to the Maqam Ibrahim, behind the Maqam Ibrahim, but most of the time you won't find a spot. If you're lucky to find a spot and you're not disturbing others and others will not push you around in salat, right? Then by all means. But anywhere in the masjid.
So men are supposed to wear the ihram under the shoulder or just for the first 3 rounds?
For the whole tawaf.
For the whole time?
After you finish tawaf, you go back to normal, put the ihram back on as normal, and you pray your 2 rak'ah. In that 2 rak'ah, you're gonna recite Qul ya al-kafirun, Qul Allahu ahad, and make dua after that, and then you would drink Zamzam if it's available nearby on your way to Sa'i. So the tawaf, to complete the tawaf properly with all its obligation of tawaf, is to complete the 7 and pray 2 rak'ahs after that. The 2 rak'ahs, it's not an obligation of the Umrah, it's an obligation of tawaf. Meaning, later on, when you go back, everything done Umrah, you come back, you want to do another tawaf, you'll have to pray 2 rak'ahs. Every time you make tawaf, 7 times around the Kaaba, you pray 2 rak'ahs.
These are just nawafil, right?
It's wajib of the tawaf.
And 7 constitute 1 tawaf.
Yes.
Up for Ramal.
Ramal only in ihram. Only in ihram. When you're in a state of ihram.
No, I mean,
From
all 7 times,
3.
only 3.
the Ramal itself.
Yeah.
Only in the first 3. The first 3,
And-
not 4, 3.
Is that wajib or?
No.
Oh.
That's why I mentioned if it's too crowded and too many people, you can't do it, you don't have to. And it's only for men as well. So we done tawaf, we did our 2 rak'ahs, we had Zamzam, now we're gonna head to Safa to do our sa'i, which is the wajib, the 3rd aspect of Umrah. Now the last istilam you can do it before heading out, or you can do it even at Safa, because it always changes. Sometimes you can see the Kaaba from Safa, and that's actually where the Hajj al-Aswad is very close to that area. So you're almost facing towards Hajj al-Aswad as well. So you could do your salam over there. Anywhere, and it's also recommended, it's not necessary. If you miss it, that's fine. Now you're going to Safa 7 times back and forth. So 1 time from Safa to Marwa is 1. From Marwa to Safa back, that's 2. So a round trip is actually 2. So therefore you start at Safa, and the 7th one you end at Marwa, and then you're done. So the recommended things that you make dua at each part of Safa and Marwa both. Every time you go to Safa, every time you go to Marwa, spend maybe a minute or 2 or 5, whatever amount, make dua facing towards the Kaaba. And there are recommended du'as, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, and Rabbil ighfir warham. Again, those du'as are recommended. Already make sure you have that guide for your Hajj and Umrah du'as, you can have that. If you have it written down, you can read it from a paper or from your phone. I usually recommend people not to have a physical thing to read from during tawaf, and most of the time in sa'i, because there's too many people, you're looking at that and you trip, right? So for your safety, it's best not to have a screen that you're looking at or a book that you're reading from. You'll see a lot of people doing it. If they're, if they have experience and they know what they're doing, then fine. So du'as, whatever comes to your mind is inshallah accepted by Allah. For the green lights, you pass by them, is also recommended to run. Again, following in the footsteps of Hajj. You run each time you pass by them, inshallah. Women would just walk by and it will catch up again with their husband, with the father, so on and so forth, with the other men. And usually men will slow down after they have ran through the Milayn Akhbarin between the green lights. And it's easy to catch up, and mashallah, nowadays we have phones, so you can call. Some differences between tawaf and sa'i. Some differences. That's important to keep in mind. Number 1, tawaf requires wudu. Sa'i does not. So if you lost your wudu in the beginning or in between of sa'i, you can still continue, and that's totally fine. But in tawaf, if wudu comes to an end, you have to stop, go make wudu, come back and start where you left. There are places in the haram where you can go and it's only for wudu. So you can go quickly make wudu there. You can also make wudu with zamzam, which is not usually recommended or good to do, but it's fine. If that's the only thing that you have. But they have certain places where it's hard to find, but if you ask around, you can find places to make wudu. Most of them, I believe, they're under those staircases that come down from the first floor because the maqaf it's lower. So you always have to come downstairs, a staircase or an escalator. So normally they are behind them, somewhere around them. You just have to look for them. So for any reason you have to go, that's but for sa'i, you don't have to. So that's number one. Number two, during tawaf, you cannot eat, drink, talk, etc. It's like salah. During sa'i, you're allowed. You can talk, you can eat, you can drink, you can stop for zamzam whenever you want to. That's why you find a lot of zamzam stations during your sa'i. So you can drink and do all those things, inshallah.
I'm sorry, that includes calling out your companion?
Yeah.
You can't or you can?
You can.
You can, okay.
You can during sa'i. For tawaf, you have to be very careful not to talk, not to say anything, not to eat or drink. Do anything except walking, dhikr, making dua, saying Quran, any good deed that you can do.
Can you say something about taking pictures? 'Cause some they go crazy.
I don't highly recommend or don't encourage people to always take pictures. But mashallah, it's something for some people, it's the first time and they're excited and want to keep these memories, mashallah. Nowadays, we are in this day and age, we're big on pictures and keeping memories. Do it in between, like after the tawaf, after you have prayed 2 rak'ahs and you have spent time, then take a minute or two, take pictures with the group, fine, that's okay. But going through everything, quickly praying 2 rak'ahs and then taking, like relax and taking a lot of time, taking pictures and all kind of views and all kind of poses and even responding to people's response that they put on, they like, so mashallah, thank you so much. Avoid that. Do that after you finish your umrah. Then post it online, whatever you want to do. But keep it minimal. That's what I usually recommend. Take pictures as much as you want. Keep it minimal. Don't lose sight of the focus that you want in your spiritual journey. After you finish sa'i, you can, if you want to pray 2 rak'ahs of shukr. That's not necessarily part of umrah. Anything that you have achieved in your life, pray 2 rak'ahs of shukr, mashallah. So some scholars recommend that you pray 2 rak'ahs after you have completed the umrah. So that now you have completed 3 things. You have done 3. Now the 4th one is cutting the hair. You find barbers at the clock tower. You have to go on level 4. I don't know. There's this whole place, a whole block. It's all barbershops. So for men, you go there. Women can go to their room, their hotel, and trim their hair. Anyone can do it for the other. Even in a state of ihram, if you are in a state of ihram, you want to trim someone's hair, it's fine in the Hanafi school. Some scholars say that you shouldn't, but that's fine.
Quick question. Can a woman cut their own hair?
Yes. Yes. If I take a razor blade and I want to shave my own head, I can. Totally fine.
Just a time check, it's actually 11:45 now.
So, yes.
And Hajj.
We have,
Sure.
if we try to get through, inshallah, we'll get through it quickly. Because that's like the main part. We talked about all the prohibitions, we talked about all the things. Now we just need to go through the Hajj, inshallah, step by step and mention just in brief, inshallah. I won't go through all the different details. So usually Umrah is where you go through all the other details regarding ihram and so on. So inshallah, we should be fine. Do we want to take a break for a few minutes or we continue? Should we continue or you want to take a break for a couple of minutes?
Yeah.
We don't have a break.
We don't
Have to have a break. Okay. So let's do it this way. If anyone needs to leave to grab something, we have a table.
Yes.
We have some refreshments, inshallah. So if you need to grab something, please feel free to do that. Inshallah, we'll continue. Yes.
After the talk, it's very easy to get lost like Asia for me. So the starting point for the Safa is like single minaret, right on the right over there. When you look at the picture.
Nice. This is a very old picture,
This is the now.
but still that single minara is still there.
So that, you know, if you
That
see
single
the
one
minaret
on the right,
starting
all the way
point
to the
for-
right. This single minara.
Yeah, that's
This
the
single
starting
minaret.
point for sun.
This is where this is Safa.
Yes.
Hajar Aswad is right approximately here. It's kind of facing towards Hajar Aswad. So that's where you start Safa, and Marwa is all the way up here. It's very different right now. Inshallah, if someone has the current picture of the way how it looks, but this is a really nice picture. You see everything right there. Okay, now you have done, whether you came from Medina or you came straight from home, went to Umrah. In both cases, at this point, you are now staying in Mecca, staying in Azizia, nearby in Mecca, in the city of Mecca in general. At this point, you're going to be just relaxing, getting ready. If you are staying nearby the Haram, you'll be going to the Haram for each Salah. If you can do Tawaf, that's the best thing to do while you're staying in Mecca. Tawaf is the most recommended thing because Tawaf is something very specific to that area in that place. And Salah 2 rak'ats, Tahiyyat al-Masjid, you can do it every masjid anywhere in the world. So the Tahiyyah of the Haram in Mecca is to do Tawaf. And then after every Tawaf, what we said? 2 rak'ats. That's for the Tawaf. Okay. Now you are getting ready for Hajj. On the 8th of the Hijjah. On the 8th of the Hijjah is where you will go to Mina and spend 5 salats over there. So meaning that you will go on the 8th of the Hijjah somewhere around, what time usually we go? Yes,
For meeting, right? So,
sometime in the morning, AM hours.
It's just, yeah, because around 10, that's the scheduled time.
AM hours is usually when you go to Mina. So meaning that you pray Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, Fajr. That's 5 salats. Staying in Mina is Sunnah. It is highly recommended. Some people skip that and go straight to Arafat, which is fine because that's not an obligation. The obligations of Hajj are as follows. Number 1, going to Mina. Starting. We said it's not required. Going to Arafat. Going to Arafat is a crucial rukun, part of condition of Hajj. If someone didn't go to Arafat, no Hajj. Al-Hajju Arafat, that's the hadith. The Hajj is going to Arafat. So that's the most important. The second most important would be the Tawaf. The Tawaf. So that's the Tawaf of Hajj. There's Tawaf of Umrah. There's Tawaf, Nafli Tawaf. Right? There's many different types of Tawaf. There's Tawaf Qudum. There's Tawaf, farewell Tawaf. So this Tawaf in particular would be for the Hajj. So those are the 2 rukun. And then the necessary parts would be staying in Arafat until sunset. Anytime you get there after midday, you are required to stay there until sunset. However, if someone had to leave for whatever reason, that's a different story, but Hajj will be accepted. As long as he entered Arafat, even for a minute, Hajj is accepted after midday. But it is required to stay until sunset. So that's the requirement. The second, other than the 2, so that's the lesser required, which we call wajib in the fiqh terms. So the second wajib will be going to Muzdalifah after sunset, after you leave Arafat, going to Muzdalifah, staying there in the night. And the Shafi'i school is up to midnight, and the Hanafi school is all the way until Fajr. And you do your qiyam after Fajr Salat for a couple minutes, and then you leave. So staying for the night until Fajr in Muzdalifah, that's the second lesser required, aka wajib, to stay there in Muzdalifah. The third wajib would be going to Mina, back to Mina on the 10th of the Hijjah, to throw 7 stones at the Jamarat, just one, which is called the big one, usually called the big one. They all look the same. It's just that the big one, or the Aqaba, is all the way till the end. When you're coming from Arafat, Muzdalifah to Mina, past the first, second, and you go all the way to the third. Normally, it's hard to mess up because there'll be nobody there at the first and second one. All of them everyone will be doing just that one last one on the 10th of the Hijjah. So that's the third requirement, right? Make sure we keep the count. The fourth requirement would be to shave or trim, just like we did after Umrah. And the so that's what, 4. And the 5th one would be doing qurbani. We already did the shaving and trimming. That was the 4th. The 5th one is slaughtering, qurbani. Qurbani normally most people won't be doing by themselves, or maybe all the Hajjaj. Some Hajjaj actually go and do the qurbani by themselves.
So are you able to shave before you have the verification that the body is finished?
So we'll come to those three elements. So there's 3 parts of it. So that's where we at 5, and then after you will do the tawaf, whether that day or the next day. You have 3 days to do that. So that's the second fard, the rukun of Hajj itself. So okay, let's talk about it. So there are 3 major things that will be done on the 10th of the Hijjah. 3 major things. One is to throw the jamarat, and the second would be shaving or trimming, and the third will be qurbani. In the Hanafi school, according to the dominant view is that these 3 have to be done in a sequence. That you first do the pebble, jamara, it's called jamara. The second is to do the qurbani, and then shave or trim. According to the second opinion, even within the Hanafi school, that's not required. But the Muftabi qawl, it's too long. It's like 116 slides. So that's the whole reason why I didn't even try, because I knew it was gonna take forever. Normally these kind of Hajj workshop, it takes 3 hours or more. Normally we do it in 2 sessions. But anyway, we're trying to get through as quick as possible. Okay.
Yeah, so you were talking
So,
about the
and the
sequence.
other opinion is that you don't have to follow the sequence. In the Shafi school and other schools also, they're not required to follow those sequences. Fine. Okay. Now the tawaf, which is the fard, that can be done any of the 3 days. First day, which is the 10th, the second day, which is the 11th, the third day, which is the 13th, 12th. The best time to do it is normally the second day in the evening, or even at night, late in the night. You'll find less traffic. But you will go with your group, the group, whatever decides, your Amir, your leader, whatever they decide for you, inshallah, you'll just follow that. Some people, they do all of that in the first day, right in the morning. They do the Jamrah, they shave, they go to the Haram, they do the Tawaf, get everything done. The Qurbani is already taken care of, come back, relax. Which is very hard because you have to walk all the way. You started walking from whatever, if you got the train, whatever, to Mina. From there, you have to do it on your own, all the way until you go to the Haram, and even coming back, sometimes you have to walk. You'd be lucky to get a ride. It's very, very tough. I've done it once, but it's very, very tough. Now, the order, you could follow that, and normally that's what I try to do, and I recommend people try to follow the order. First Jamrah, then have your Qurbani done. Once you have that confirmation, then you shave and trim. Once you have done those 3, once you have completed those 3, then you can come out of the state of Ihram. Which means that the tawaf that you're going to do, the second rukun, whether it's that same day or this next day, you'll be doing the tawaf in regular clothes. But if you're doing the hard way, that you do all of it at once, then of course you'll be in your clothing, which is fine. However, for the tawaf, which is the rukun, you will be doing a sa'i for that. And that's the sa'i for the tawaf of Hajj. Although you have done your umrah and you did tawaf and sa'i because that was part of your umrah. This tawaf is part of your Hajj. So therefore, after that tawaf, you'll be doing your sa'i. And of course, that's the only time. It's very interesting. You see a lot of people, sometimes I always surprised at why they're doing sa'i. Sa'i is only done without ihram, without clothing, without in the state of ihram, possibly after the rukun of Hajj, after the tawaf of Hajj. That's the only time it's done. Other than that, it's always done after Umrah tawaf. Right? So you be in the state of ihram. So sometimes people are just, I don't know. I have no idea why. But that's when you will see most people in just regular clothing doing their sa'i. And you'll be
Both for tawaf is ziyarah and sa'i, you do not need to be in just white clothes. You can be in regular clothes, right? Both for tawaf is ziyarah. Because once after you have done your shaving,
yes,
you get out of ihram.
yeah, you got to ihram. So tawaf is ziyarah. For those who don't know, tawaf al-rukun, tawaf al-ziyarah, and ifada. These are different names that is used. Normally we say the rukun of Hajj tawaf or the tawaf of Hajj. Simple. Tawaf al-qudum is the tawaf that you did in Umrah. And then there's the tawaf of farewell tawaf. There's no sa'i after that, of course. Looks like we covered everything.
Tawaf with dar is the wajib. For outside.
Tawaf al-wada is wajib, yes. Now, we counted 6 or 5.
Because the sa'i is the sixth one.
The sa'i will be the 6th one. We counted 5, right?
Yeah.
The 6th one will be the tawaf of Hajj. The sa'i that you will do after the tawaf of Hajj, that's wajib. If someone misses out on that, cannot do it, Hajj is still completed, but there's a penalty for that. What will be the last? The last one will be the tawaf of wada. That's also wajib. So before you leave, you should do one tawaf, and that's wajib. However, that in the Hanafi school in particular, it is not necessarily done like just before getting on a bus or getting on the train to leave Makkah. It can be done anytime after Hajj. In particular for sisters, because they may have a certain situation where they're not going to be able to do tawaf. In that case, if just as a suggestion, you don't have to, that if you are able to do that tawaf right after you finish, you complete your Hajj, just in case if it's going to be your periods and you're not going to be able to come, it's best to get that done. However, for women, if they're not able to do the tawaf al-wada', the farewell tawaf, for their religious restriction, then they're fine. They don't have to do it. They can leave without any penalty, without any problem. But just to get that out of the way, you can do it before leaving anytime. So there's no specific time, but it's best to do it and make that your last action at the haram.
Sadaqah is easy to give, right? You can always donate it.
Yes.
But how the dam is going to be taken care of? If one has to.
The proper ways that you go and you do it yourself, but that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So there are organizations that you can go to them and give them the amount and they do it on your behalf in the haram. And that's not required to be done during the Hajj time. It can be done
So even if
anytime of the year.
even if you come back and
Do it next
it
year.
online,
So,
Usually
or do it
your-
online.
Usually your tour operators or the leaders actually would help you with this.
Quick question for the viewer. His sister, if she gets her period before she does the intention, what is the process?
She should be doing.
Do you want to keep that for the sister session after, or?
Oh, okay.
Do you want-
We're gonna have.
Because we have Ustad Samir as well. So, inshallah, if there's any for the online. So the question is that if you haven't started your intention, and meaning that you haven't started the ihram, whether it's for Umrah or for Hajj, and restrictions started, the period started, what are you supposed to do? For Umrah, it will be different. For Hajj is a little different. If it's for Hajj, then it's a little easier because most of the rituals is going to be done outside of the masjid part, because the restriction is actually the masjid, because you have to go through the masjid to get to the mabaf. So you can go to Mina, you can go to Arafat, you can be in Muzdalifah and do the Jamarat and all those things within that state. You just cannot go and do your tawaf, so you will wait until the period ends and then you go. That's in a very general sense. If it's too long and those different scenarios, inshallah, you can ask that. But that's totally fine. For Umrah, it becomes a little complicated because Umrah, you have a short window, doing it in the beginning. If it happens before you even started the trip, and you have to be in a state of ihram because you are going there for Hajj, so you will enter in the state of ihram, right? If you have, so it depends on how much time you have before Hajj, right? Most of the time it will be like 2-3 days for our, the way how we are doing our Hajj, because I'm hearing a lot of people leaving and being there just a few days before Hajj. So in that case, you would enter the state of ihram, and if you think that you will be able to do your Umrah before Hajj, then you make your intention for Umrah. And if you think that you are not going to be able to make the Umrah before Hajj, you make the Ihram for Hajj. And that will be Ifrad. So complicated. That's why I said these situations are very complicated. So it's case by case. Yeah.
What about hand sanitizer? Is it okay to use hand sanitizer?
Has fragrance and unscented.
Yeah, it's easy.
That's fine.
The ones that they smell horrible.
Regular alcohol.
I have a question about the masks. If somebody has to wear masks to prevent themselves from getting sick.
Yeah, so I mentioned that in the beginning. So for truth, whether it's a need and necessity because your health condition, or you are required to, in both cases, fine.
I mean, if you're healthy, like not like,
Then you shouldn't.
but you're afraid that you catch it, and then can you wear it? And if you do, what is the penalty?
No, because you don't cover the whole face. It's just partially covered. So it's best to avoid if you're not at risk, or because over there, regardless of the mask, normally you will get sick, you get a fever. I always get sick, regardless of mask or no mask. So it's best to avoid unless if you have a health condition, and then you can wear the mask.
So I had family friends that went during Ramadan, it was like super crowded. Like a lot of them like ended up getting like COVID, like weird like viruses that they were like sick, like bed rested. So it's okay to like.
Yeah, if someone feared that they're gonna be really, they're gonna get really sick and they're not gonna be able to actually perform Hajj and Umrah, then they can.
Yes, it's
So-
open to interpretation.
So it depends. So that's how it's up to you. What do you feel? If it's just a mild thing, okay, I may get sick, I feel whatever, headache and stuff like that, and I can get through, then it's best to avoid it. But if you feel strongly that I really need it and I'm gonna actually get sick and it will be difficult for me, like my dad, we both of us, when we did our Hajj, he was with us. He went with another group, but we joined him because he got so sick that he couldn't even walk. And we had to do everything on a wheelchair with him. It was very, very tough. So he gets sick in these kind of conditions. So for that purpose, you wear a mask.
What's the
Protect yourself.
like penalty? Is it like the Senegal or like the?
So if you're wearing the mask for like a whole day, then if you and it's covering most of your face, then you pay a a dam. And if you have worn it throughout the ihram, throughout the Hajj, it's just one. Just one.
And after you complete your Umrah and before you're trying to get into the state of Ihram for Hajj, are you supposed to go back to Miqat to wear Ihram or?
That's a good question, because I didn't mention it. Since you are in Mecca, you are in the Haram boundary. So the Haram boundary is different than the actual, this Haram boundary. So this Haram is Masjid al-Haram boundary. And then there's the Haram boundary. Anywhere you are inside the Haram, that's your Miqat for Hajj. For Hajj. So if you are in Azizia or you're nearby the Haram, you will get ready for Hajj, Haram, everything from your hotel or from where you're staying in Azizia, anywhere. For Umrah, if you are in the Haram, the Miqat or the starting point is outside of the Haram. So the closest place outside the Haram is Masjid Aisha. So if you want to do one or two more Umrahs, you will go there, start the whole process, intention, all that, in Talbiyah from Masjid Aisha.
I mean,
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
So when you're saying that, like you're in Mecca, in the area of the Haram, and then you're gonna be, you can, from wherever you are, that's your miqat, you can get in the state of Haram. This is for Hajj, right? Does it have to be that you have to be there before like 15 days? Or like there's no day restriction, right?
So in the beginning, when we talked about getting the state of Ihram, you have to do it before the miqat.
Yeah.
That Ihram was for your Umrah.
Right.
And since you're outside, so let me see if there is a whole yeah, Wi-Fi. There we go. So these places are called the miqat. The Haram is somewhere here, small little dot. They have the whole Kaaba there, but it's a small little piece over here, which is called the Haram, the boundaries of the Haram. It includes the whole city of Mecca and a little more. So if someone is outside of these boundaries, which is called the mawaqit, the miqat, someone is coming from all the way from east or coming from the west, if they pass one of these and they're intending to do Hajj or Umrah, they cannot pass one of these without ihram. Someone who's inside this area, and they want to perform Umrah, then they can do it anywhere within this boundary. If you are inside the Haram, inside this boundary, let's say the Kaaba is the Haram boundary, anywhere here for Hajj, this is your miqat. You don't have to go outside the Haram, you don't have to go outside the miqat. You just do right there. But if you want to do Umrah, you only have to go outside of this area and be outside of the Haram. You don't have to go all the way. Is that clear?
Yeah.
No.
I've also read somewhere that you could make the state of Ihram in Masjid al-Haram. Is that what we need to do? For Hajj?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it could be either the
If
hotel
it's
or-
feasible and you are actually at one of the hotels next to the Haram, you can get ready, take a shower, the Ihrama, for women, wear their whatever regular clothing that they're going to be using during Hajj. You go to the Haram inside the masjid, pray 2 rakat, make dua, make the intention, say a talbiyah.
And so it's not necessary. like
Not
Hajj.
necessary.
So
You can.
could start it outside. Okay.
You
Okay.
can, it's not necessary.
Okay.
For those who are staying far from the Haram, from the Masjid al-Haram, separate the two. From Masjid al-Haram, like Azizia, for example, they will do it from their room, hotel, they have a masalla, whatever, anywhere. You can even do it in Mina. Because when you go to Mina, you don't have to be in a state of Ihram. Because Mina, staying in Mina, we already established that is a sunnah, it's not a requirement.
Except for the night of 10th and 11th.
No, we're talking about Mina.
Okay.
The 8th of the Hijjah, when you're going to Mina to spend about 24 hours and you're going to be praying 5 salats over there, it's not a requirement. If someone, like, I remember one time someone was really sick, they just stayed there in Azizia or wherever, and then they came straight to Arafat. It's fine. Some groups actually do that. The elite groups, they pay a lot of money to do that. They go to Medina actually on the 8th. They come in the morning on the 9th. In both places, there's nobody there. So they're able to go to the Rawda, Riyadh, Jannah is 8. Everybody's there in Hajj. Everybody's actually in Mina. And they're there in Masjid Nabawi, hardly anybody there. And then on the 9th morning, they go for their tawaf of Umrah. And there's nobody in the maqam because everybody's in Mina or going to Arafat. And then around midday, they take them straight to Arafat. So they skip the whole Mina trip, which is, yeah, you pay more money to sacrifice the Sunnah. And we don't judge, but that's what it is.
Brother, how are you?
Oh, we skated.
लेकिन 10 की रात का मिना वाजिब
That's a good one.
I think I don't want to get it confused.
So we're talking about the 8th of the Hijjah. The 8th of the Hijjah. We're not talking about after, because after you be staying in Mina. So those 5 salats is recommended. Again, it's not a requirement. If someone skips it, it's fine. But now after you have done everything on the 10th of the Hijjah, to stay in Mina for a good portion of the night is a wajib. So meaning the 10th of the Hijjah, that night, the following night, which will be in Islamic, it becomes a little confusing. The 11th night. 11th night is actually the next following. So that night, the 10th, and then the 11th and the 12th, if you're staying.
So basically, on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, after Maghrib.
After Maghrib, if
After
you,
Maghrib is
let's say you stayed in Mina for until like 11, 12 o'clock in the night,
you're
the
done with the
wajib is done. Because you stayed in Mina for partially of the, partially of the, same thing for the next night, same thing for the other.
Some groups do that
now-
as well, I think.
now-
They take you back to Azizia, bring you for.
Yes, so basically 3 days, so Mina, the 12th, 11th, and 12th. The 13th, however, you can leave before that. You can just spend those 3 days and 2 nights and leave, that's fine. However, if you stay for the 3rd night and you were already there after sunset, then you have to spend a little bit of that night before you head out.
For the 12th and 13th.
So, and then you, for the 13th, then you do a Jamrah again. Because you're doing 3 Jamrat, right? The first day you do only 1. The second day you're gonna be doing all 3. The 3rd day you're gonna be doing all 3 again. Now that day you could leave right after that. So let me do it again, just to make it more clear. On the 10th of the Hijjah, you're going to do that wajib that we counted for, that 1 Jamrah, that 1 Aqaba, the Jamrah al-Aqaba, the last one, the big, this is Bara Shaitan, the big Shaitan. Right, 1. But that's 1 Jamrah, that's the 10th. The 11th, you would do Jamrah again, the Jamarat, but all 3. And then the 12th, which is the 3rd day, you'll be doing all 3. After you have done those 3 days of Jamarat, on the 12th of the Hijjah, you can leave after that and end your Hajj. Right? Done.
What do you mean by leave?
Leave from Mina, go back to your hotel, go back to your home, go back to your country, wherever. You can do that. You can do that.
From after talk.
Of course, that's
Yeah.
already understood. But you can leave. You're done with Mina and all of that because Mina, Arafat, Muzdalifah, they're all like in that one big area. Mina is separated and Muzdalifah right next to it, and then Arafat is a little farther. So you are done with all of those rituals. Tawaf without, do it on your way out, whatever. However, you can be done. But if you plan to stay for that day and you stayed until sunset, in Mina, then you have to stay for the next day and do the Jamarat on the 13th, which will be the 4th day that you'll be doing Jamarat. A lot of groups do that, but you have the option. A few years that I've done Hajj and a few times we had to do that actually, because our package was in a way that the people who are in Makkah, they are leaving the hotel, so we had to spend one more night there to get back, and so we can get our rooms and stuff like that. So logistical, that's how it was packaged.
So in short, you
And
can
you
complete
could
your
do the
Hajj either on 12th, but if you stay for the night, on 12th and Mina, then you have to complete your.
complete, yeah. If you have stayed after sunset, then you just keep stay for the night, do the Jamarat next morning. A lot of times they talk about restrictions of when you can actually go and when you cannot go. On the 10th, the first day, you can do it anytime after you have come back from Muzdalifah. On the 11th and 12th, you do it after midday, after Zawal, meaning when the time of the Dhuhr starts. Then you do it anytime from there all the way until night. You have all the way until even late in the night. That's fine. So the bigger crowds are usually during the daytime from midday after until like Asr Maghrib. After that it gets, so if someone who's sick, who you have an elderly with you, you have someone who's not able to, you have someone who can be taking on a wheelchair, do it towards the end of the day. Even in the evening is fine.
You can take shower without soap in the.
Yes.
For Muzdalifah, the weak or elderly or pregnant, how do they, can you explain that if they are not getting well? Somebody else through this early.
So there are two different things. In Muzdalifah, so we have already spent the 5 days, went to Arafat from midday until the evening. From there, you came to Muzdalifah after sunset. When you come to Muzdalifah, there are a few things that you'll be doing there. Number one is you're going to pray your Maghrib and Isha together in the Isha time. In Arafat, you pray Dhuhr and Asr and Dhuhr time. So first thing, the prayer. The second thing is that you find how many stones? 70 if you are doing 4 days of Jamaat.
Just in case, because sometimes we miss.
Take 70, take 80, take as much as you can. But 70 is a good number, just in case if you're going to be doing the 13th, add another day. Because you're doing 7 first day, and every other day you're going to be doing 21. 21, right? Is that better?
Question.
Wait. So that's the second thing. The third thing you will be doing in Muzdalifah is you're going to be resting and sleep like a baby. Inshallah, you'll be really tired because you have spent since the other day in Arafat and all that. So that's 3. Number 4, try to wake up as early as possible. Even if you give it a 1 hour sleep, is sufficient. If you get 2 hours, mashallah. If you get 3 hours, mashallah. If you sleep all the way until Fajr, it's also okay. It's also okay, no problem. But what I would recommend is that you wake up as early as possible. 3 o'clock will be a good time. You can easily get up, go use the bathroom. If you want to take a shower, you can also do that. There's not a lot of people in any places because most people are sleeping. Pray tahajjud, make dua. It's a special night also. And then you pray Fajr, that will be the last thing you'll be doing. And after Fajr, you spend a few minutes making dua. Okay, so that's the proper way of doing it. That you leave after Fajr, after making a short dua, and that's called the Qiyam of Muzdalifah. There's the Aisiyani Qiyam, which means bonfire and s'mores, but that's the Muzdalifah Qiyam, where the actual Qiyam of Muzdalifah is that you make dua, preferably standing after Fajr Salah. The night, mashallah, whenever you come in the night, you come in the middle of the night, you come later in the night, whenever you reach Muzdalifah, you pray Maghrib Isha, rest, Get ready, pray tahajjud, pray fajr, make the dua, and you head out. Now, if someone came, let's say, after Maghrib, they got the first train, they came to Muzdalifah, it's not even time for Isha. What time it happened? We actually took the bus and we still got there before Isha entered. I don't know, it just happened that we were on the first group on the gates, so they opened it up, we got our bus, we're ready to. And because we're the first ones out, there's no traffic, straight to Muzdalifah. That was the best Muzdalifah ever. Because we got there just on time, we ate, prayed our Maghrib and Isha, went right to sleep. And while we're sleeping, we can hear people coming and and I get up and it's all full. We slept and nobody was there. MashaAllah, that was one of the best Hajj. However, sometimes you're coming late. Sometimes someone is sick, sometimes someone elderly, they cannot spend the whole night because they have other conditions. They can leave after midnight. And that's the Shafi'i position. They can leave after midnight if it's a necessity.
If God
But
forbid.
not I just don't feel like staying here. It's difficult. It's like camping. It's like bear camping. You stay on the ground. It's rocks under it.
God forbid someone becomes so sick because of viral illness right before the Hajj, then at that moment, if they only find themselves, only strong enough to even just do Arafah, reach Arafah, or probably do Tawaf al-Ziyarah, then the wajibat are becoming difficult. You really don't know how.
So if someone is in a situation where it's becoming almost impossible to do the whole Hajj, just have them do the minimum, and the rest they, inshallah. According to some opinion that they don't even have to pay them because they were not able to. However, there are certain things that you can do it on their behalf. And I think that was one of the questions that came up, which is Jamarat. So if someone is sick and they cannot do it, you can do it on their behalf. But you cannot do Tawaf on someone's behalf. Or Sa'i. So yeah, or shave your own head and say, I've done it on your behalf. Certain things you cannot. So Jamarat is one of them that you can. If someone is sick, and actually I've done, the example was my dad, when he was sick, he couldn't. So I did his Jamarat. So I did mine, then I did his. Yes.
I've watched other lectures on like the night of Muzdalifah and other people's experiences on how the mixed gathering for like the North American camp. And I'm aware that like in the state of Ihram, you're still in the state of Ihram, that it's going to be mixed. So there are going to be like people of the opposite gender. And like to be in the state of Ihram, you shouldn't be staring at women or looking at anyone.
Or in any state.
At any state, right? Well, yes, exactly. No, but like again, like the prohibitions, right? To not get out of Ihram. So my question is, if you were to go to Muzdalifah, but you didn't want to go there to sleep, is it possible to not sleep and then just go through the night and go to Mina
It happens to a lot of
next day,
people actually.
early in the morning,
Yes.
sleep in Mina and then do the rest of the
Yes.
Jamaat and
If you can still keep going.
because it was described that there's men and women sleeping and like
Normally it's nowadays they have this little kind of boundary. It's like a piece of cloth that it's a short piece of cloth, maybe 3 feet high. They just put a piece in the women on this side, men on this, but they're not like sleeping
No,
together.
there is no commingling. No.
It's usually very decent, and even if there are there's a little, but it's manageable and it's kind of that's how it is.
I say that because it was described that it was like commingling.
It might seem that there's all women on this side and right next to them the men are sleeping. That's also
The only
possible.
thing is that men are in state of Ihram while sleeping, there can be issues, so you have to be careful actually how you're sleeping and what conditions.
But that,
There
that's
is
that
no
aspect.
zero commingling because of those.
Yes.
But I want to go back to just Muzdalifah for a second, right? Because collecting 70 stones or pebbles, I mean, it seems easy that, there will be thousands of pebbles in front of you. It isn't, it actually sometimes gets challenging because there could be mixes of concrete pebbles as well. So you just have to do an extra effort to find an actual rock or a stone, not just concrete, So to do that effort, collect 90 if you have to, so that we have enough actual ones. That becomes really, sometimes you will be thinking, oh, this is an actual stone. It isn't, it's concrete. It's a piece of concrete.
in the past, like many years ago, it was just, okay, we'll find your own stones. But nowadays, for many years, the government actually pours in a lot of,
Small pebbles.
bluestone, whatever those stone. They put in a lot, so you find a pile of them so many places. This grab. It doesn't have to be very big. It shouldn't be too small. Just the side of a
Almond.
Huh?
Almond.
yeah, chick.
Usually a good measure is, this water bottle, this regular one that we have, just fill that up.
If it fits through it, then it's good to go.
Yeah, but just fill it up.
Actually, this is actually a really good. Collect all of your stones in there. You wash them
Yes.
because sometimes they're unclean. There are other animals throughout the year. There are animals out there. So it should be tahir because it's one of the sha'ira. Sha'ira, right? So also when you عظم شعائر Allah, whoever makes ta'ظim, meaning that respects it and puts more attention to, so cleaning it and making it tahir, making sure that they're tahir, and then using it. It's kind of like giving more.
And Shaitan doesn't like any.
Yeah. Sahih. Sorry, I don't know. I couldn't get to a lot of questions online.
Oh,
I really apologize for that. Who was supposed to be
Is
on
anyone talking?
No, there's a lot of written questions. Who has the questions online? Oh, where were you? Forgot about you.
Curious to understand if there is a benefit of doing Hajj more than once.
That's a good question. Can you do more than one Hajj? Yes. If you have the means and you're able to and you're healthy and you want to do on behalf of maybe your parents or someone, why not? A lot of people do. It brings a lot of barakah to your life and barakah to your wealth, barakah and everything. So if you're able to and you have the means and you have other avenues of spending your sadaqah, right? And you're helping others and you're not taking away from other people's rights, by all means you can.
You can sponsor a convert.
Yeah. If you have done a few Hajj and okay, this year maybe I sponsor someone who mashallah, this person is really deserving to go for Hajj, but maybe will never have the means, so help that person inshallah.
Question about that. So it is said that you only do Hajj and so we accept it if you actually earn that money. So you
No.
sponsor somebody else.
Yeah, totally fine.
Can I sponsor my 18-year-old son and
Why not?
because I heard that it's, they have to make their own money.
They will be required to perform Hajj if they have their own money. It becomes a requirement for them. They're not required to go for Hajj
But if they go.
because they don't have their own money.
Accepted as their first Hajj, yes.
Yes, definitely, 100%.
Second question.
Your first Hajj was sponsored.
Yeah, my first Hajj I did with my parents, a little kid, but it was mashallah lovely Hajj.
Can you perform Umrah or?
But I did one Hajj on behalf of someone after I've already done my own. Yes.
Can you perform Umrah or Hajj on behalf of someone who's already deceased?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Next question.
There's actually a proper hadith for that, about Hajj in particular. And from there, the scholars have taken the ruling that any good deed can be done on someone's behalf. That's the most correct view, yes.
Can women choose to wear white?
Yes.
Is there a written steps of the whole Hajj process?
A return steps?
The whole procedure.
165
What to do.
Oh, written.
Written steps.
Written
What's the procedure? His presentation to share.
It's somewhere in this. I just have to go get to the, yeah. There is a small booklet.
Yeah, I'm sending it to Brother Fuad.
Okay, khalas.
I'll send it to the email.
There is a
So that's what people.
place where I have all the things just in one big diagram. You can find them online as well.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I was avoiding using this slide because there's just so much in there. This would take several hours to complete.
There's a chat window open, but close. You know, while we are going through this, I
Yes,
want to
yes.
make a recommendation.
Yeah, one more, the second question, inshallah, as we,
That's, one more is, can we share this presentation? The link?
these slides?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also recommend that also read books that will inshallah increase your iman, increase your love, increase your yearning to go for Hajj,
The virtues of Hajj.
the virtues of Hajj, things like that. There's a book, it's called Fadail Hajj.
Yeah, that's very detailed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone wears sunglasses
Yes, totally fine, 100%.
for both men and women. For both men and women.
Yes,
Because it's not closing.
everyone. For the ذكر الأنثى رجلا امرأة.
And for female, we can wear the hat, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't cover things.
And I think the first time we would go the. But now.
Anyway, next question, as I scroll down.
I can see why you didn't go through it.
Yeah, I just have the materials through.
Okay, it's just a lot.
Or if it falls short, how do you?
On what?
Yeah.
As long as, that's a really good question. 7 times you're going to be throwing on the first day and 21 on the the next days, 7 in each. It's a huge wall, about 4 feet high or more. And then before it used to be that small little, let's see if we can find it. If I find it out. And then now it's a huge long wall. So as long as your stone goes beyond that wall, that 4 feet, 5 feet wall before the actual wall for the Jamra, you're fine. You can try to throw it at it, but as long as it goes inside, there you go. This is the Jamarat. This is how currently actually it looks like.
It's a multi-story complex.
It's just that now it's covered. It has this huge canopy over all of them. So that's the Aqaba. See, it's a little kind of also separated. And this is the Ula, this is the Thaniya, this is the Aqaba, the Jamrat al-Aqaba. So most of the time you have to go start from here and go through this whole thing to get to here. It's, I don't think they even allow coming from the
It's more,
front.
it looks like a
And-
big parking lot.
And that's where you're facing towards the Qibla. So if you're coming from here, you're facing towards the Qibla as you're walking. So on the 11, 13, 11, 12, you will, after each Jamaat, after each time that you throw your 7 pebbles, you would stop for a little bit and make a dua facing towards the Qibla. And that's why you see this little crowd over here. Actually, that's what they're doing, I believe. And
Nowadays.
They don't allow you, but a couple seconds, it wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
But if you just move to the side, then they won't say anything. If you move all the way to the side over here, they don't bother you. But because it's for safety issues. Same thing here, when you do the second one, you move to the side over somewhere, make dua. Once you come to the third one, you only go to the Jamara and no dua. It's not recommended to make dua after that one, after the last one, and then you just leave it, go back.
So when you throw the pebbles, what do you say?
Bismillah, Allahu Akbar.
Bismillah every time.
Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Here's a little farther view. That's the same thing. The Qibla is that way. Oh, there you go. That's how it looks like. It's this huge wall. And then there's this boundary around it that is about 4 feet high. So as long as it passes here, it's definitely going down, it's going to hit the wall. So it's hard to miss it.
And this is a huge wall. This is a side view. right
The
here.
side view.
Yeah, it's a huge.
You
wall.
can Google it.
So I have to.
It will hit the wall eventually. So even if you just throw just a little bit like that, it will go and hit the wall.
Because it's a funnel.
So I have a question
No,
about,
about
if someone asked me to throw the pebbles for this individual, is there anything special I need to do?
the end. Dua special after.
Also, yes, okay. You found someone, I'm going there to throw the pebbles. Do I have to say something or?
You just have to make the intention that I'm doing it on behalf.
Another question, shortcut, I shouldn't ask you, but you have 21 stones to throw, right? 7 each time. Can I just take all together?
No, it will not. If you do all at once, it will count as one.
Right.
The intention is to say Bismillah, Allah.
And remember the time of the
The story behind it, really, Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam and Hajj, right? We didn't get a chance to talk about Medina. Medina is the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's so many virtues of Medina, just like we talked about the virtues of Makkah and the virtues of Hajj and all of that. That is related to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Is related to also so many other prophets, including the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But Medina, it's the virtue and everything is related to only to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the specialty of that place, and that's one of the reasons Allah knows best. That's why Allah made that place his final place to live in, make it his home. So visiting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam it's not the requirement of Hajj, it's the requirement of our faith that we owe to Allah and His Messenger. So just like we went to fulfill the commandment of Allah of Hajj, then we go visit the Prophet ﷺ, or vice versa, you can go visit the Prophet ﷺ first. And both are also mentioned in the books of the scholars that what is recommended to go Medina first and then go for Hajj. That you go visit the Prophet ﷺ, you show your respect to him and everything, and inshallah, the Prophet ﷺ has made istighfar for you, and then you go for Hajj to the bigger ritual, or you go for Hajj, purify yourselves, and then go and visit the Prophet ﷺ. So both are valid, and both are. I've done both. So when you go to Medina, the best thing is to say salat on the Prophet ﷺ after the fara'id, after the important things, after reciting Quran. Try to do as much as you can. Try to pray 5 daily salats in the masjid if possible, with the jama'ah, and protecting yourself from all sins. That's, at the end of the day, when you come back from Hajj, you have to make sure that you are a different person. You are not the same person that went while you were going for Hajj. So when you come back, so before even going for Hajj, before going through this whole journey, think about the things that you want to make a change in your life. Because Umrah is very short. Hajj is a long journey. There's so many days, so many things, different types of ibadah, right? Staying in the night, doing things, throwing stones. All of that has a very significant effect on yourself. So taking the lesson from each and every one of them and try to make a change into your life, like who you were. Of course, you're gonna come back as a newborn, inshallah. All the sins are, but we don't want to also go back to the habits that we already had. So, mashallah. I will have to be heading out in a few minutes because I have someone, inshallah, taking a shahada after Dhuhr, after Dhuhr Salah. So I want to be there for Dhuhr, 1 o'clock. Barakallahu feekum.
So,
Any other questions you can, until you leave or even after you leave, I'm around, inshallah, you can ask me. Thank you all for joining us online as well, inshallah. And all of you gonna make a lots of dua for us.
Just let them know that we're gonna connect with the people. We're gonna try to create a one WhatsApp group and
Another WhatsApp group. Good luck with that.
coordinate that.
If they have any questions during the
Yes.
time,
Yeah, if you want to create a group and all of those who attended today, I'm happy to be part of the group and I can answer, inshallah. I just don't get any notifications on WhatsApp. Someone has to tell me there's messages on WhatsApp group. Go check it. I'll inshallah be happy to answer. Yes.
Or at least as good as
Yeah.
it.
I'm out
Yeah, go ahead.
some group, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah.
Will this PDF be shared though with everybody that?
You can share it. Yeah, yeah. I
Thank you.
can share it inshallah. Brother Imran, Awad, yes. Can you guys make, I'll share it.
Everything else, everything was.
Excellent. Well, yeah. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, subhanallah al-azim, subhanallah.